Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. John Johnson, leader of the NFAC, was found guilty last week of pointing a rifle at an FBI agent, a Secret Service agent, and several Louisville Metro police officers, right? Let's get into this thing. And this is by Kevin Clark, right? The Not Fucking Around Coalition was all over the place during the reign. And that's what NFAC stands for. Was all over the place during the reign of police-centered violence that took place across the U.S. a few years back. Police-centered violence was police officers when they were, still are, but when the murder of Breonna Taylor and when they was killing unarmed black men. Led by John Johnson, who also goes by the name of Grandmaster J, he and his crew of armed black men, wording. It was not a crew. It was a militia. It was a uniform standing militia that marched in ranks, but worded. Listen, led by John Johnson, who also goes by the name of Grandmaster J, he and his crew of armed black men, right, who served as security. Look, he and his crew of armed black men who served as security. So when you say his security force, his crew, you see how they do it? Okay, his crew and intimidate against white angst and rage. They could be spotted during protests and marches for Ahmaud Arbery, Jacob Blake, and Breonna Taylor. In a report by Carrier Journal, the militia head was found guilty last Friday by a federal grand jury of assaulting and pointing a firearm at a law enforcement officials during racial justice protests in downtown Louisville the night before the 2020 Kentucky Derby. Johnson, 59, was accused of pointing an AR platform rifle at an FBI agent, a Secret Service agent, and several Louisville Metro police officers while they were on the roof of a building the night before the Derby, which had been rescheduled to September 5th that year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me explain something to you all. There was a rally in Lafayette, Louisiana, right? I was there and I had the privilege of covering that whole event, Verbal Pick Radio. We were there. So on our way to Sanssouci Park, there were snipers that were on top of a building. Someone in the crowd yelled, "Look, snipers." We looked up, we saw white men with rifles pointing down upon us. The NFAC, the members with their rifles, got on one knee to take cover and pointed at that building. This was before Louisville, Kentucky. This is before Grandmaster J pointed the rifle up at federal officers that was on top of a building. I'm saying this to say that in your experience, when you're walking and someone is on a higher platform, let's say on top of a building, and you witness yourself at them as if they were taking aim at you from the rooftop, from that point on, you're cautious when you're around high buildings. Now, the situation in Louisville, Kentucky was that Grandmaster Jay saw people on top of a building and it was dark outside. He goes to use the flashlight at the end of his rifle to shine light on whoever was on top of that building so he can identify, was it a threat? Who was that on that building? Just so happened the light was on the rifle, and so they said, well, no, you were pointing your gun at government officials, i.e., FBI agents, Secret Service, what have you. Now, the sad part about that is they're almost saying, hey, you black people, you can't walk throughout America with guns as if you are an army. Well, you have the right to, but we'll find a way to shut you down. Why? When the NFAC is not a danger to the Americas, like January 6th was to the Capitol building. I don't know, y'all. It's just with this whole Kyrie, Kanye, now Dave Chappelle. Now last Friday they put Grandmaster Jay behind bars. It's ridiculous because we need protection. We're saying that whatever rights that white people are afforded or granted, we share equally in those rights. If you got 10 white men with rifles walking down the street and no one says anything to them, then there should be 10 black men with guns, rifles, walking down the street and nothing should be said to them. The obvious overt racism towards black people is ridiculous. But black people are in a position to where the overt racism has played itself out and it serves no purpose. So you can't say now, hey, what are you doing with this? What are you doing with a militia walking in the middle of the street protesting the death of a black person? And the answer is, am I breaking any laws? No, we just don't like the fact that you're here. And who cares? At this, who cares, right? So, I don't understand his defense. And I brought this up before, right? Whenever you, it's like awareness. Whenever you somewhere and you always getting weapons pointed at you from a building, and the question, even when we were in Lafayette, the question was, how was they even allowed to get on top of the roof when those businesses were closed, right? And why didn't the police officers intervene with the men that was on the roof in Lafayette, the white militia? Why didn't officials say, "Hey, you all can't be up on top of that roof pointing weapons down at Americans or civilians, right? Or Americans?" And because black people, we say we are Americans. Some of the actions that the government has partaken in towards black people, sometimes you can draw a conclusion to say otherwise, right? Right. The point I'm trying to make is, why not a black militia? Right? Why not? Because some don't want it to be. That's their business. You know? But it is what it is, man. That's the point I'm trying to say. Is that we fighting on all fronts. We fighting for freedom of speech. We fighting for the Second Amendment, right? How many black men, look at Philander Castile, right? Officer, he has a concealed handgun license. Let me see it. He reached to get it for him. He's shot. The concealed handgun license let officers know that this black male, has a weapon, and they get up in the frenzy. But in our mindset is that, hey, we're playing by the rules, and we want to protect ourselves, and we also want a pursuit of happiness, without the stress, without the drama, without the racism. Right? That's where we at now. So, I mean, it's ridiculous, you know. Honestly, it is. It's ridiculous on what's happening in society today. You know, just like journalism should be fair and balanced, so should how the way you view individuals in society should be fair and unbalanced. Because if it's not fair and unbalanced, then there will be problems. It's automatic. Now, it leads me to ask, do some people understand universal laws, or understand consequences, or understand as you reap, so shall you sow? As the universal law is real, right? If you don't know universal law, Google it, read it up. But it's so much real. But on a lighter note, Verpic Radio has just launched a streaming deal with Grind City Network. Coming out of Pennsylvania. We'll be out there as well, so make sure you all check us out, get involved. You know how we say, we need our black on this, our black on that. See, that's another thing with the media, right? If you don't have your own platform, or a platform dedicated to black people where they can go and discuss issues amongst the black communities throughout America, something is wrong, because the minute you say something on someone else's platform that they don't like, then they want to shut you down. Either it's because out of anger for what you said, right? Or you told the truth and maybe the truth hurts and they just don't want to face it. They try to shut you down that way. It's several reasons and several methods on how and why they want to shut you down. Right. But you know in your heart what you are doing is beneficial to your people and your loved ones. But from their viewpoint, it's, no, I got to shut you down because you're speaking too much truth. You're waking too many of your people up. And it's just ridiculous. But we face it because one reason why we face it is that you have elderly blacks who their motto is just keep your head down and try to survive. Well, hell, that's not living. What kind of life is that? I don't know. So, anyway, back on the Grandmaster J, dear NFAC. So, when it first happened back in the year 2020, right, my documentary was posted from the footage that we gathered while we covered the event in Lafayette. They had several groups speak, and NFAC, they were the finale, right? But while he was going through the trial, he DM'd me in IG, Instagram, and he asked me to pull the movie and the content off of social media. I didn't understand why, right? To this day I don't, but he said remove everything off while he was going through his trial. And so I went back through the footage to try to see what he had said or what he could have done that prompted him to ask me to remove all the content in regards to the NFAC, right, from the platform that's playing the documentary I did on NFAC. Until this day, I just didn't understand why he was telling me to pull it down when, I was granted permission to be there and film. And so something was going on to where he was like, he was like, man, take that down. This is private something he was saying, like if I was engaging in some type of wrongdoings and filming that day in Lafayette with the whole militia. It was weird though, I was because when we go out in the public and you make bold statements, right? You have to stand by your statement and your words because you made them. Or either you making these bold statements to see how many you can rile up, right? To see if they can be pulled out, right? What I'm saying is, you have people who will be in the middle of some controversy and fire and brimstone, and people get behind them saying, yeah, that's right, that's it, right? And then the leader who pulled them out will go to his enemy or their enemy and say, look how many of them out there that's in agreement with me. And by being in agreement with me is opposition to someone else. The whole setup. Not saying that's what happened, but it's possibilities. We just combing through it. I don't know. It's just the strangest things, you know. 1 minute it's like we defiant, hey, let's roll, and then the next minute is, I love everybody. it's crazy. I don't know. One thing I want to say before I go, it's been a wild week. Freedom of expression, freedom of speech is very important. You can't please everyone. But in your heart, if you know you're standing on truth, and no weapon formed against you shall prosper. No weapon. So, you all enjoy your day. I just wanted to. I'm so actually right now. I'm just besides myself. It's a lot going on, but I did, like I said, I did have some good news. We partnered with Grind City Network on the Roku channel, which is a blessing. But it's just, it's like, damn, what can we do? How do we express and air out our grievances amongst each other without somebody of another race getting offended and want to come after them? It just don't make sense to me. Verbal Pick Radio, we're out.